Our group came up with a game called xMarks. Basically, the background is we came across this game online. It's called the eyeballing game. We got a kind of basic idea of what we wanted to do with it. We decided to expand greatly upon it. There was some very limited games that you could play with it, but we wanted to make it even better. So the objective with the game is basically there are various visual puzzles that are presented to the user, and it's your job to make sure that you use your visual acuity to solve the puzzle. And the lower your score, the more accurate you are. So basically your score depends on how close you are to solving the puzzle directly. Some of these challenges seem simple, but when you actually try to do them, they're a lot harder. Like finding the center of a circle without any other guides except for just looking at the circle directly. Finding the center of a triangle, bisecting an angle, creating a right angle, matching colors. There's many more that we worked on. Some of the features that we did with this is that we have an intuitive tap and double tap selection. So you each have once to set where you want to put your center or where you want to put your line, and then you double tap for selection. That way you're not constantly trying to move something that's under your finger and you can't see it. The games are randomized to keep the player on their toes. We don't just, the game online, the problem with it was you kind of basically learn what it wanted you to do and do it every time. But we randomized it, moved the shapes around, changed how they look, make it harder for you. And then we have a score breakdown at the end that allows you to see how you performed on the various tasks and are you getting better, getting worse, that kind of stuff. So basic idea of what gameplay looks like. This is one of them. This is the bisect the angle mini game portion, and basically you have the blue line is your line, and then you're trying to get your line between those two perfectly. So let's say that we put it there, and if you double tap, the green line is where you should have gotten. That's the actual bisection, and then you have a score that is calculated based on that. So we'll move on to the demo.
So we'll start the game. He already went over one of the games. Alright, find the center of the circle. That should be easy enough. I'm not going to try to get it perfect. On a right angle. It all sounds very simple, but it's definitely a fun game and challenging trying to get it exact. Can you guys see this, like what you're trying to do? You're just finding the center of the triangle. Matching the color of the text on the bottom. Create a new square that has that. Okay, the controls are kind of weird on this one. Making equilateral triangles, you're just adjusting one of the points to just both sides. And then you run through each game again, and it will average your score for both of them, and lower scores better. Should I run through it? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll just get bad scores because there is a score summary at the end.
Basically, all this stuff is being drawn on the fly. There's nothing pre-programmed. It's all the points are randomized with each start of each mini game. Everything's drawn right there as the game goes.
Here we've got our scores at the end. Each mini game itself is average the score, and then at the end we just take a sum of all the mini game scores, and that's your total score. So the closer you get to 0, the better you've done in the game.
Did all those mini games exist when you guys started with it, or did you add them in one of the mini games?
Some of the basic ones existed, like the angle stuff, and I think the center of the circle. But no, the color thing I don't think was on there. And I mean, obviously there's a huge number of possible mini games you can put into here, and we're demonstrating that we built several, but we thought of many more that you could do to add in very simply, because it's all based off a common structure. In the gameplay itself. And so Ryan did a randomizing function that kind of makes each point random, and of course there's calculations that have to go into calculating where the perfect point is, and the way the score is typically done is by saying how far you are from the perfect and then normalizing it based off of some maximum value. Like if you're on the circle, you're trying to find the center of the circle. If you put the thing outside the circle, you're just totally screwing up. I mean, ideally you get the maximum score if you're outside the circle because you shouldn't know, but and it'll just normalize it based on how close you are to the center from the radius of the circle in that case, and multiply it by some max score. So the goal of it is to get the lowest score possible. Any questions?
What would we draw?